Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Liana on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. Wouldn't believe it, but I literally was just talking for 10 minutes and I forgot to press the record button. I'm so glad I just checked because I was so into it, so explaining everything I want to talk about, but it is what it is. Let's start again. Today's episode is about reframing fears, turning challenges into opportunities. Welcome back. And this time I double check, I hit the record button. So today we're going to talk about something that many of us experience, actually all of us experienced it in the past, like the emotion of fear. And fear is something that holds us back from living our dream life, from going after our goals and dreams, from doing what we actually really want to do. Fear is often holding us back, and fear comes in different forms. Fear comes in self-doubt and anxiety and thinking we're not good enough, and like all different forms. Like fear is an emotion that we all experienced in the past. And today I want to talk about how we can stop getting controlled by fear and instead reframing it. Like, what if we saw our fears not as obstacles, but as opportunities for self-growth? Today, I guide you through the process of reframing fears and turning them into opportunities. Let's start by understanding fear. So what is fear? I already said it. Fear is an emotion, and we all experience it from a really young age. We know what fear is. And the thing is, fear is trying to keep us safe, and there's nothing wrong with having that emotion, with fear and trying to be safe. But as soon as it stops us from going after our dream, doing something that really aligns with us, something that we really want to do, as soon as fear steps in and is stopping us from doing it, we really have to reframe our thoughts on that. And we really have to use the tools that I'm going to share with you today. Like I said earlier, like fear manifests in different ways, in self-doubt, in anxiety, in the fear of failure. But what if we could change our perspective of fear? Think about a time where you were afraid to take a leap. Maybe it was when you decided to quit your job, or you were thinking about quitting your job, but you were afraid of doing it because maybe you were afraid of judgment. Maybe you wanted to apply for a new job, but fear was holding you back because you were worried about, what if I fail? What if I don't get the job? Maybe you wanted to move to the other side of the world like I did, and fear was holding you back because you were wondering, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't get the visa? I'm going to tell you a personal story about this soon. Another example could be you wanted to try a new hobby, but the fear of the unknown, not knowing anyone maybe at the place where you want to try a new hobby, held you back. Think about a situation when you were afraid to take a leap. Maybe you are at home right now and you have your journal, you can write it down. Maybe you are out and about and you can write it in your notes. Or if you're driving, just think about it. Please don't write anything down while you're driving. But think of a situation where fear was holding you back. So what exactly held you back? Was it the fear of the unknown? Was it the fear of judgment? Was it the fear of failure? Was it the fear of not being good enough? There are like different ways of fears, and I want you to think about, okay, what exactly was holding me back? I just want to say here that fear is an emotion, but fear doesn't define us. Fear isn't the outcome of the life you want to live. Fear is literally just an emotion, and the emotion comes from a thought that you had. Let's start reframing your fear into a challenge. So instead of thinking, what if I fail? Start reframing it to, what can I learn no matter the outcome? This will turn your fear into a motivation of growth. For example, when I moved to New Zealand, I was scared. I had also the fear of failure. I had the fear of judgment, but I did it anyway because my dream was just so much bigger and I didn't want to live with any what ifs. And I also knew that I would learn so much from this experience. I knew that I would learn and grow so much from trying to move to New Zealand, from even doing the first step, from going back to New Zealand and figuring out how can I make this happen. I knew that I would learn so much and I didn't let fear hold me back because my motivation was so much bigger. And yes, I knew that I could fail, and I knew that, okay, if it doesn't work out, I just go back to Germany. I knew this, but I didn't let that hold me back from trying because I really wanted to figure out what happens if I try, and I wanted to know what can I learn from it. So I changed my what if I fail into what can I learn from this experience regardless the outcome. I wasn't that focused on the big outcome. Yes, I had a goal and I wanted to achieve it. But yes, big goals come with fears. Moving to the other side of the world comes with a fear, like with many fears. But I didn't let that stop me because I reframed my thoughts of what I will learn from it. Like my life, how my life will look from doing this. Like, I mean, who could say I tried to move to New Zealand? I mean, now I moved to New Zealand, but even like just the trying, I just knew that life is so precious and that I wanted to give it a shot. And I didn't want to let fear and even limiting beliefs that other people have and projected onto me hold me back and because sometimes limiting beliefs of others and fears become our fears and start holding us back. But I didn't let that happen because I knew this was my goal and I knew that I couldn't let fear hold me back. And I also knew that this fear wasn't real. It was a thought and it was something that I could switch and change. So I want to give some more examples. So that was my example about moving to New Zealand. Another example could be you have to do a presentation at work. And instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, what if I mess this up? What if I forget something? Or what if I forget what I want to say? Like instead of focusing on that fear of failure, start focusing on the opportunity. Like doing that presentation at work would give you the opportunity to get better at public speaking, to get better at speaking in front of people, will get better to present yourself. It will give you the chance to grow in your field, in your whatever it is that you present to the people. Another thing is in relationships, instead of fearing rejection and conflict, you can focus on the opportunity to grow your communication skills, to share what you want in a relationship. I want to give another example to the public speaking. When I was in high school, I hated speaking in front of people. I hated presenting my homework or whatever. Then it actually changed. I was like seeing it as a challenge, seeing it as an opportunity to grow, because that was also when I got into like the whole mindset work and was watching like speakers, like TED speakers. And I was like, I want to speak in front of people. I want to be good at that. And I knew in order to do that, I had to overcome my fear of speaking in front of people. So I had to practice. I had to stand up at uni and share my thoughts on certain things, or like share my homework or whatever you call it, share my paper in uni, I don't know. But I knew that I had to go through the uncomfortable to grow. So no matter if I failed, I knew that I would grow. No matter if my answer, let's say at uni, was wrong, I knew that at least I spoke up for myself. I thought at least I shared what I thought was the right answer. And that actually goes on to when I moved to New Zealand and started showing up on my stories and started speaking English in my stories. That was a huge step out of my comfort zone, and I was scared of failure. I was scared of saying things wrong, pronouncing things wrong. I was scared of judgment. Like my accent was so strong. And now I'm thinking, how silly. Like that's the only way how you can learn, like speaking the language. And I don't care anymore if people judge me. I know that I still have sometimes an accent. I still pronounce things wrong, but I don't care because I just know the outcome. I know that if I show up and if I keep on talking in English and whatnot, if I keep on speaking in front of people, I will learn from it and I will grow and I will become this new version that creates this new reality that public speaking in my camera in English is not hard for me anymore, and I'm not having any fears anymore because I've done it. I've overcome the fear. I now want to share like a few steps of how you can reframe your fear. So I want you first to think of a fear. Like, what is a fear that you're currently facing? And I want you to identify exactly what that fear is. Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fear of judgment? Is it the fear of rejection? Is it the fear of not being good enough? Is it like, self-doubt? What is your fear? Like, really identify what your fear is. And naming your fear, knowing what kind of fear you have, is the first step of taking control of that fear. Now that you identify your fear, ask yourself, is this a fact or is this just an assumption? And I tell you what, it's most likely an assumption. It's just something that you thought, and that's like something that you thought is true. It's an assumption that you made up. It's just a thought. And here's the thing, a thought is literally just a word in your mind that you kind of started to believe. Often our fears are exaggerated in our minds, and it is literally just one word or like just something we thought, and now it's like this big fear. Questioning whether it's a fact or an assumption will help you to reduce the power of the fear. The next step is to reframe the fear into a challenge. Instead of saying, I'm afraid to fail, start saying, I'm excited about the opportunity to learn, to grow from this experience. This really shifts your mindset from this fear, this negative feeling, into a positive feeling. I'm excited to learn from this experience. I'm excited to grow. I'm excited to develop new skills through this thing, what I want to do. Like, I'm not scared of failure because I know that I will learn and grow from it. And the last step of forming your fear into a challenge and an opportunity is to take action. Even if it's just a little tiny baby step, taking action will help you to overcome the fear, will help you to move in the right direction, will help you to move towards your goal. And it all starts by identifying the fear and then reframing it and then taking the step. Now that I shared my tips on how you can reframe your fear into a challenge and then into an opportunity for growth, it is your turn. Come back to this episode anytime, maybe save it, download it to follow the steps of identifying your fear, then reframing your fear into a challenge and then into a growth opportunity. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would really appreciate if you have like 2 minutes to either give this a thumbs up or to give this podcast a 5-star review on Spotify. That would really mean the world to me and will help me to create more content for you, and it will help me to create more free content for you to listen to. And now I hope you have an amazing day.